This is a microwave, and these are things you should never put into a microwave. Like this egg. I ran for cover. I will show you what a plate of eggs will do with the microwave later. When I was sitting at a safe distance and fascinated watching the yogurt spinning around, I realized that there is probably not much on the camera that can be seen through the grid and that the video will therefore be total shit. I found a relatively simple and apparently relatively safe guide on how to solve this problem on the net. All activities in this video are performed by trained professionals and are for educational purposes only. Never try it at home or outside. And I was able to nicely see how the yogurt exploded in a total impotent outburst more reminiscent of a spew.
Yes, that was the whole explosion.
The water contained in the yogurts began to evaporate and the steam began to form inside. And then there was more and more of it. And not much, but this is just a beginning. Next up was a regular pencil. After only a few seconds of this cancer-causing carousel, thick smoke began to pour out of it, and only a few moments later, sparks appeared in the back near the metal sleeve, and flames erupted immediately. Metal in the microwave heats up very quickly under the fire of microwave waves and can then easily ignite something. In this case, it was the wooden part of the pencil. I cleaned up everything safely and asked the grieving family if I could use the charred body of their relative for scientific purposes, and at least do a surgery on it before the funeral. The survivors weren't too excited, but they didn't know that the pencil was a registered organ donor, and that it even had a donor card with it, so the experiment could begin. It was interesting that when there were some flashes on the subjects, the image in the camera flashed as well. The harder guts are actually made of graphite, which is conductive, but under the influence of electromagnetic waves, the graphene loses its free electrons, and this somehow creates an electric current, which then shoots all around. What happens when you microwave whole corn? Good question. Even though I tortured the corn there for about 10 minutes, it only managed to pop and expand a little, and then fell. But there was no popcorn. The only corn I could get was this boiled type corn. But if it's done correctly, it should look like this. Pikachu apparently had an inkling of what was waiting for him in a moment as he turned blue from the stress. I don't think even lightning attack will help him here. However, inside he seemed to be enjoying himself quite a bit, except maybe for the rapidly inflating head. After a while, his insides began to release steam. Well, let's just say that his premonition came true. Let's go to the Poke Center. Next up was the soap. The soap began to ripple its surface under the onslaught of microwave waves, and at times it seemed that the lump would come to life just like the legendary homunculus. A stench spread around the area so menacing that I have no doubt that somewhere in my body, a sibling of this monster began to grow.
Please kill me!
The pencil sank into the bubbling soap like a liposuction injection into the side of a morbidly obese person. Soap contains a large amount of water, and that water is gradually heated in the microwave and turns into steam, and that creates those bubbles. I don't know what else to say. It looked gross and smelled even worse.
Subscribe for more quality content.
This marshmallow was in a similar situation. When the oven was on, it grew in size, and when it was off, it deflated as quickly as an aggressive pool crocodile after an encounter with a paring knife. It looked like a family-friendly shit, and like a mushroom from the back.
Dobrý den.
Then at home, I found a ball like this, with liquid inside, or whatever it is. And so I was wondering if it's going to inflate until it bursts, or... Unfortunately for this video, nothing happened. And right after that, I put a light bulb in there, which flickered when turned on, and then I slowly started to run out of ideas. But since it's only half of the video, I literally started throwing garbage in there. The packaging began to shrink rapidly immediately after switching the microwave on. I didn't expect this. It looked a bit like some kind of 3D render. But it smelled extremely bad, and the smoke didn't look very eco-friendly either. The stench obviously damaged my brain because I dumped the remains of the hellishly hot packaging on the floor and put a second package in the microwave, only this time with chips inside. And this, for a change, looked like a time-lapse video showing that the packaging would not break down in nature for 350 billion years. When I went to retrieve the package, I stepped on the hot remains of the first bag with my bare foot, because I am an idiot. I also threw some kind of plant in there. I don't know why, but probably because it looked like a sausage. Nothing interesting happened.
Experiments.
Okay, fork. Like graphite, this fork also contains free electrons, so it can fire electrical discharges when it comes into contact with a microwave, itself, or another metal object. The fork was extremely hot. So I tested to see if it would boil water. And yes, the water boiled a bit around the fork.
Experiments.
You must have always wondered what happens when you put grapes in the microwave. Me neither, but look at that flame here. The flame here is actually plasma. The plasma is forming there because the grape balls are of the ideal size and composition to trap electromagnetic radiation within themselves. Those waves then accumulate in the balls and create something like a bridge between the two halves. I won't pretend I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, keep an eye on it. I also put a tomato in there. A tomato could pop, right? Write in the comments if the tomato explodes and knocks out the microwave door. Unfortunately, all that happened was that the tomato forgot to cover its mouth when it sneezed. Okay, now for the CD. But before we show what happens to it in the microwave, I'd like to thank Peter, Mark, and Hans for their help in filming this video. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Thanks. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same about Radam, who refused to help me. And that's why he'll go on a short trip to the microwave. But I'm just going to put him there for a while so that nothing wrong happens to him. Geez, Radim must have lost consciousness. Wait, Radim, hold on. I'm coming. It only took a few seconds, and the only thing that was left of Radim was a boiling blood stain. Gummy Radims consist mainly of sugar, which melts when heated, and we already know what happens next. I made a makeshift stand, put the disc on it, and shoved the proof of my ingenuity inside. I slammed the door shut and cranked the quantum generator to maximum. I honestly didn't expect it to look this good. A few moments after turning on the microwave, blue lightning spread in all directions on the surface of the CD, and the whole thing looked like something out of a Marvel movie. I liked it so much, unlike the Marvel movie, that I burned a few more discs. Write in the comments what you think is happening with the CD. The result looks like the skin of a person struck by lightning.
PIKACHU?
We all know that tinfoil should not go into the microwave under any circumstances, but what if you put it in there by mistake? Dude, it looks even better than those CDs and grapes. Just like in graphite, there are also free electrons in aluminum foil, which are set in motion under the influence of microwaves and generate current. The sharp edges of the foil will attract the electrons the most, and it is from them that the discharges will shoot. Although it looks very interesting, it is really very dangerous. That's also why I do the experiments outside on wet grass, with a fire extinguisher on hand. And now the expected plate of eggs in the microwave. I ran for cover again, as fast as my burnt leg allowed. Well, how to say it? Nothing happened. But then I realized that the more food there is in the microwave, the more microwaves are needed. So, again and this time without the egg holder, or whatever it's called, after a few minutes of electromagnetic radiation, even Radim's insides no longer held their shape and the egg literally started to roll in them. And then it happened. And again. And then the lens was so dirty that nothing could be seen. The whole experiment was absolutely disgusting. But I still didn't know what awaited me inside. But I found a new hobby for myself. If you like these stupid experiments, then check out this video in which I did stupid things with dry ice.